Realer than real. Realer than real.
Everyone, hello out there in TV land. That was beautiful. Thank you so much for your applause. Thank you. Oh, you guys. It's so lovely to see you here today. Welcome back, you guys. We're back. I don't know why I'm saying that as if we took some long break. Although, like, when I'm uploading the podcast to Spotify, it asks, like, what season and episode this is of the podcast. When should my season finale be? Should I be like the new TV shows nowadays that, like, they do 8 episodes a season? Or should I be like classic TV where you get like 20 episodes a season? Who knows? Who knows? In any regard, you guys, welcome back. I'm so happy to see you. I'm happy that you're here today. I'm happy to be here today and every day. Can I get an amen and a hallelujah? Oh, happy March, you guys. We made it through February and now we're into March. March is it's our like kind of last half a month until we get to spring and that warmer weather. The clocks are set forward. I think this upcoming Sunday, quote unquote, AKA back to regular time. So we're going to start seeing some longer days. What else? It's Pisces season. There's, for all my bi-weekly folks, we get paid 3 times this month. And now that is the luck of the Irish. What else? What else is March? Oh my God. March is Women's History Month. March is Women's History Month, bitch. Period. If you know a lady in your life, send her $31. No, hold on. Send her $331.24. So if you're listening to this, you are obligated to send me some of that green, baby. Happy Women's History Month. Ladies, it's our time to shine. Let's pop our shit for the entire 31 days. I don't care if it's someone's birthday. Every day is our day this month. I feel like Women's History Month, I feel like I shouldn't have to pay for anything this whole month. At least, let me be realistic. I feel like women should get half off for public transportation. How about that? I'm like just putting it out there. MTA, if you're listening, and I know you are, half off, babe. Give me half off. Oh, you guys. March means that my no spend February is done. And I'm excited to share with y'all how it went. Oh, before I get too into it, for those of you who are watching the podcast, I am right now currently sitting here with my mom's blanket. So for a little context, a little backstory, her friend group, they would always do like, I don't really know the occasion, but they would often like get together and give gifts to each other. And so someone gave her this gift and it's like pictures of her and like different pictures of the friend group. I don't know, throughout their many excursions of all hanging out together. And I know she was really fond of this blanket. And so I am happy to have kept this since she has passed. And it's just nice to have and stuff. And, I don't have it with me today for any particular sentimental reason. I'm actually wearing it because I am currently in my pajamas, which is a big t-shirt and some shorts, and I'm wearing a hoodie right now to cover up the t-shirt. Not that it needs to be covered up, but but the shorts they're sleeping shorts, so they're a little bit shorter than the average short, and I wanted to keep some mystery between you and I. So I just threw on this blanket, and so it's just nice to have. So yeah, we can consider my mom my first like official guest on this podcast. And everyone, welcome my mom. But yeah, no spend. You guys, I'm happy to report that it went really well in my opinion. I did not spend any money that I didn't absolutely need to for the month. Like, I think I only spent money on groceries and obviously bills because unfortunately I could not tell, my gas and electric and my landlord and my cable and my Wi-Fi and stuff, oh, sorry, I'm doing no spend. So see you next month, babe. But yeah, it went really well. I didn't spend any money and the biggest thing, I think the 2 areas that I was spending a lot of money on were were obviously my Amazon purchasing, my online shopping that was getting a little out of control, but I also think it was my transportation. For those of you who don't know, I do live in Baltimore City, and I live in an area that is pretty accessible to public transportation. But I was finding that I would kind of go out of my way to take an Uber or somewhere to somewhere further because I liked a certain supermarket more. And like, okay, so for example, how do I put this? I'm trying to not give like a lot of details about where I live because like obviously I, need to keep some safety about me when I'm talking about myself on the internet. But let's say I prefer a Piggly Wiggly's that was closer to where I used to live, right? But there's a Piggly Wiggly's that's like a little bit closer to me now. But because I don't know the area that much, I would much rather spend the Uber money to go to the Piggly Wiggly's that I know about instead of the one that's closer to me. Instead of like hopping on the free bus and going to the Piggly Wiggly's that's closer to me. So for the month of February, I wanted to challenge myself to doing things that actually made sense, like shopping at the closer Piggly Wiggly's, but also like buying things that I actually need. So one of the things that I actually talked about this on TikTok, but obviously I went from living in a house with my mom and my brother and like having that mindset of grocery shopping for three people who, we like to eat, we go through food fast, trying to get out of that mindset and grocery shop for one person who, in all honesty, I feel like I don't eat that much. So I don't know, like it's a weird dynamic. And so I would feel like whenever I go grocery shopping, I would buy so much food and I'm like buying food as if I need it to last for like months and months on end. And when you live by yourself, you really don't have to buy food like that. So I challenged myself both in where I was going and how I was shopping. And that has made a lot of the difference. I realize now, I used to think it wasn't as effective, but it really is more effective to do a bunch of smaller smaller grocery trips versus trying to do one big one when you do live by yourself. Of course, it changes if you have kids or anything like that. But yeah, I think one, just like shopping for what I actually need, trying not to buy things as if I need it to last me for an entire year, because then food goes bad. And then, the only thing worse than maybe spending too much money at the grocery store is spending too much money and then having to throw it all out within 3 weeks because it all went bad. But yeah, so that was one thing that I really wanted to focus on. Of course, I wanted to focus on not running up the Amazon tabs anymore, which my spending was not crazy. It's not like I was spending $1,000. Well, I was, I'd have to look at the receipt. I'd have to ask the audience about that one. But I wasn't spending buku bucks on Amazon, but it definitely was getting to a point where I would order things and they would get here and I'm like, oh, I don't even remember what I ordered. And like, that's chaotic, right? So definitely wanted to limit all of my online shopping unless I absolutely needed it. And my things for like absolutely needed it, I would consider like things like skincare an absolute need, which I know some people wouldn't, and I think those people are crazy. But like things like skincare are a necessity to me. Certain parts of my makeup routine, had I run out of makeup, I think would have been essential to me. Granted, I don't wear too much makeup on a day-to-day basis, so I didn't run out. But yeah, overall, it went really well. I would suggest doing it to people because it definitely helps you take a look at your spending, and it helps you just like kind of figure out what you need to do going forward. Like, now that no spend is over, I'm not going to lie. Now that it's over, just this past weekend, me and my boyfriend, we went and we were like, let's go spend some money. And I'm not going to lie, I spent a little bit of money this weekend, but just to kind of like congratulate myself for doing it. But it is kind of one of those things now where I'm like, now that I know that I am capable of reining in my spending, not being easily influenced online, not instantly going to a big content creator's Amazon storefront to see like what they can have, like, like it gave me a moment in time. Cue the Whitney Houston song. Moment in time. Anyway, it gave me a moment to really just look at what I want, let it sit in my cart for a few days, and if it's something that I absolutely need, then I will buy it. But usually, for the most part, if you take your time and you slow down with the purchasing, you'll find that you don't need the thing. And then half the time, especially for me, what would happen before is I'd be like, oh, I need to buy a new thing of this. And it's like, Do I actually need to buy it, or is it something that like can be fixed without having to purchase something? Case in point, I was gonna buy a new laptop case for my MacBook because I was like, I just closed my laptop. Oh, wait, I feel like I'm so stupid, bro. I just closed my laptop by accident. But anyway, would you believe me if I told you that all I had to do was clean it off? All I had to do was literally take it off the computer, wipe it down real good, and put it back on, and it's literally brand new. And bitch, I was about to buy an entire new case and keyboard cover. Like, and it's so crazy because I don't think of myself as someone who is so easily susceptible to buying things, but like having that moment happen in February and just being like, oh my God, wait, I now understand my problem. I'm not actually evaluating why I want new things. I'm just saying I need new things. And because I'm an adult that has adult money, you know, in my mindset, I was thinking like, oh, if my bills are paid, then I can spend as much money as I want. But that is not smart, babe. And I know that now. So I'm proud of myself. I would recommend to anyone to do a no spend. And best of luck to you. It really has helped me. And I definitely feel like I'm someone who has decent money management skills in the sense of like, well, I don't even want to say anything because I don't want to have to knock on wood. I don't want to speak things into existence, but I consider myself to have decent money managing habits, but this has definitely helped me kind of fine tune some of those money spending skills. So I would absolutely recommend it, you guys. I think everyone should do a no spend. So, like I said in the beginning, it is March now. March is the time where a lot of universities go on spring break. The university says, all right, go on, kiddos. Have your week or so to do what you want, frolic, and we'll see you all back here. But you guys, Miami Beach, they have said, pack it up. They said, you don't have to stop spring break, but you won't have it here. So if you are unfamiliar with the ongoings and the happenings, Miami Beach breaks up with spring break in their new commercial stating, it's not us, it's you. They're not even sugarcoating it for you guys. They're basically saying, y'all are the problem. Y'all bring y'all raggediness here and we're done with it. I guess it dropped this morning. Miami Beach, Florida, like the government of Miami Beach or whatever the case may be, basically put out a breakup commercial where they basically said, yeah, like we're done with spring break. Like you guys can't come down here. And if you do come down here, we're going to have hella laws in place to make it so this is not going to be the same spring break that y'all had last year. And honestly, not so hot take, probably lukewarm take at this point, but I agree with it. Now, again, I'm recording this on Monday, March 4th. So who knows, some things could change since then, but I support it. I really do. I cannot imagine. So I live in Baltimore City. It's not a super touristy destination, but having two pretty big sports teams here, the Ravens, the Orioles, and then, the Inner Harbor garners some touristy attractions in the summer. And I feel like a lot of people have family that live in Baltimore, like live in Maryland in general. So it's not a super touristy place like compared to DC, but it does get a decent amount of touristy traffic. I can't imagine living somewhere like Miami Beach where several points throughout the year, especially during the summer, not only are places crowded and traffic is crazy and, the cost for Ubers and Lyfts and stuff is way more expensive. But now you have to worry about your own safety because at last year's spring break, we saw fights breaking out, gun violence, just so many things happening. So I can't imagine that. And I honestly commend the government for stepping up and being like, yeah, no, this shit isn't cute anymore. Y'all can't bring that shit here no more. I think it's kind of camp. I really do. I thought the commercial was really funny because it had this fun breakup tone to it, but it was like they were being so dead ass. So I love it. I thought there would actually be a lot more pushback on social media about it, but it really wasn't, at least not from what I've seen on Twitter. And again, the commercial just dropped today, so I could be filming this saying right now that there's no pushback, and then tomorrow I see several, think pieces about it on TikTok. But right now, I want us to go through the website and let's just read through some of the things. So one, first of all, the website is has all these fun spring break colors, which I just think is hilarious. So let's Okay, so it says right here, expect curfews, security searches, and bag checks at beach access points, early beach entrance closures, DUI checkpoints, bumper to bumper traffic, road closures, and arrests for drug possessions and violence. Period. Local laws and regulations. The following is illegal: consumption of alcohol in public, smoking tobacco or marijuana on beaches or in parks, possession or consumption of narcotics, driving under the influence, driving a scooter or vehicle irresponsibly, and violence of any kind. I thought at first that said vehicles of any kind. I'd have been like, damn, they don't want y'all here at all. And then specifically what is prohibited on the beach, smoking cigarettes or filtered tobacco products, the consumption of alcohol, narcotics and marijuana, large tents, tables, or similar structures, loud music, large coolers, glass containers, styrofoam, and plastic straws. Save the turtles. Yeah, they've had it with y'all, and I agree. I've never had a spring break like this. I'm trying to think. I mean, in high school, do you get a spring break in high school? You do, right? I don't know. Girl, high school was so long ago. But for college, I didn't really do anything for spring break. I don't know, like maybe it's because I grew up poor, but I just didn't really do much. And then when I became an RA, one of our like duty rotations, we had to do one of the breaks, and I would always offer to do spring break because I was just like, it's too cold to go home anyway, and I would just rather stay on campus. So I never really did anything for spring break, so I don't really have the I don't have that kind of frame of reference of someone who has partied before, you know, at a beach somewhere and done some of these things and had a good time. I do like to drink in public and party with the best of them, but I feel like if it's getting to a point where you are making a city, where you are making a tourist beach destination, be like, oh, y'all do even too much for us. I think that's when you know it's kind of like, it's clipped, like y'all are cooked, it's over. The thing that really got a lot of people was this one right here. $100 flat fee parking rate will be in effect for the 42nd Street garage between Royal Palm and Sheridan Avenues. The flat parking rate does not apply to Miami Beach residents, access card holders, permit holders, or employees with proper identification. $100 for parking. Now, I don't drive, right? I don't drive, but $100 for parking is insane. And if that is not enough incentive for you to not go, if you already bought your ticket, you are the definition of cooked. Like, it's not, I don't know what you're going to do with that ticket now, because you're not going to be able to do the things you did before. I'm just, you know what it is? I'm so curious about why, and I can't even say that partying has quote unquote gotten to this point, because we've seen several times in history, you get any large gathering of people together, unfortunately, there are just people there who are either severely unstable or they just crave chaos. And when you add alcohol and the possibility of drug use into that, you do create an environment for those people to really just act a fool, to be quite honest. So I can't even say it's like, oh, with these new people, but I don't know. I'd be curious to ask someone who maybe is a millennial or a Generation X to my zillennialness. Like, I'd just be curious to know, was there always this sense of like kind of unsafety when y'all were out there? Because even though I do think that, you know, presences of danger because certain people just, you know, want to create chaos has always been around, I definitely do feel like it's a lot worse now. And obviously, when it comes to gun violence in the US, we've seen that it can happen anywhere, but I don't know. It's like, it's disheartening when you, like, you know, everyone's on the beach just trying to have a good time for spring break, and not even gun violence, but like just regular violence has to ensue, destruction of property, littering, like just all these things. Everything happens until you get to the point where you have a local government basically being like, girl, it's not even about the money. We do not want you here anymore. Like, it's crazy to me. And I commend it, honestly. I just wonder, I don't know. I think maybe my generation has been trying so hard to like recreate some of those like viral spring break moments that we would see like on, I don't know, like Tosh.0 or whatever, or even like the MTV spring break special. I feel like my generation has been trying to create something like that for so long, but the problem is that people just do too much. Like, we could have that, but people just do too much. Like, it doesn't work. But even then, funny enough, me and my brother actually watched this documentary on Netflix a while ago, like maybe sometime last year, where in the 90s they were trying to recreate like a Woodstock. I would recommend that documentary. Oh wait, let me look it up so I can tell y'all the name. Okay, yeah, so I believe it's called Trainwreck Woodstock 99, if I'm not mistaken. That's the only one that's come up. But yeah, that documentary covers the recreation of Woodstock in the 90s, and how they wanted to model it after the original Woodstock that happened, like, I don't know, maybe in the 60s, and so many things went wrong. It's a very good documentary. One thing about Netflix, they might want to raise them prices every quarter moon. Every time there's a new moon phase, Netflix is saying, "Hey, just so y'all know, we might consider raising our prices again, and you can't share with anyone else, and you're the only person that can use your account." Fuck you, Netflix. But I'm gonna tell you this right now. One thing they can do, they can put together a good documentary, and that's one that I recommend. But yeah, I don't know. That documentary reminds me a lot, maybe not to a T, of what happened in last year's spring break and the spring break in years prior, but definitely this idea, I think, that people have been chasing, trying to recreate the next big party thing, because I don't think this generation, maybe aside from Coachella's, but even now Coachella is less about the people, kind of like Coachella is more about the performers and less about the people that go, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like Woodstock was very like audience based, look at what these people are doing. We're all just here on this earth, like just trying to enjoy music, where I feel like now Coachella is very much like we care more about the performer, which, I mean, I have no feelings towards, but I definitely feel like my generation has been trying to find a way to recreate some viral party moment. I mean, you saw it with Fire Fest, which is another great documentary that me and my brother watched. Again, just trying to, that documentary, and that fucking loser guy, y'all know he's trying to recreate another Fire Fest? He's supposed to be dropping an announcement anytime this year. If y'all are stupid enough to buy tickets, I'm about to go on a quick tangent. There is nothing more that bothers me. Like, when I watch these documentaries, like, well, not these documentaries, but like when I watch that documentary, I found it so hard to empathize with, and I feel like this was a sentiment when it was happening on social media. I found it so hard to empathize with these people, because it's these people that have so much money and so much like resources in abundance, and you're spending your money for this thing that feels so like exclusive, and you're like, oh, I'm gonna vlog the whole time and blah blah blah, and then girl, it was tense, and y'all didn't eat or drink for 48 hours. Just, and that, the main guy's face, that Sam guy, I might be getting his name wrong, but look up, like, if you just look up Firefest and like go to like if you're on Google and you look up Firefest and go to images, look at the main guy's face. Tell me you have not seen a more punchable face in your life. I'm someone, I get very irrationally angry about things, but his face is so goddamn punchable. Anyway, just got me heated. I'm angry now. But anyway, yeah, I definitely say that my generation has been chasing this like big party phenomenon for a while, and until we can reach a balance of fun and not being destructive or not being disrespectful to a property, I don't think we're ever going to get that. And again, like I said, I was surprised to see the like kind of positive feedback or positive reception of Miami Beach's like decision to do this. A lot of people are saying, do my state next, do my city next. So it might become a wave where we see people kind of like disregarding that tourist dollar for the sake of their residents, which I don't hate it. I really don't hate it. It does make me worry about the business owners of these areas, but sometimes, man, you gotta cut your losses, dude. It's a tough decision. I don't envy anyone in that decision that has to make that decision. How many times am I gonna say the word decision? But yeah, that's rough. Let's see what else. What are we looking for on time right now? Okay, all right. So it's a little long, but I think we're good. Something else, just kind of like semi-related to college kids, spring break, things of that nature. So this is kind of like more of a local news, but UMD has decided to have all Greek life, fraternity and sororities, they are ceasing all Greek life activity indefinitely. There's apparently some ongoing investigations on campus about some public safety issues, and they basically told Greek life, yeah, let's cut the shit. Y'all can't keep continuing. Yeah, this is not going to keep happening for the rest of the semester. There's not been too many details about what they are investigating. I've not seen anything. I can say, from what I've read, that apparently this decision, I'm reading the article now, the action in Maryland comes just a few days after the University of Virginia suspended its Kappa Sigma chapter after an alleged hazing incident on February 21st. In addition to the Kappa Sigma suspension, the university's Interfraternity Council imposed a 3-week suspension on all of its chapters, quote, as a commitment to anti-hazing efforts and out of respect for the ongoing situation. The incident was a pledge who had been drinking heavily, fell on a staircase and hit his head, leading to hospitalization. I'm gonna keep my ting brief with this one. I was not in Greek life. As a black girl going to school in the southern parts of Virginia to a PWI, I just didn't, although I did have many friends who did sororities and, just always, whether they were doing it just like, I don't know, out of kindness or they generally wanted me to be in them. I've gotten a few asked to, rush or whatever, but that was just never something I wanted to do, just kind of like as a protection to myself. But I think also, and this is just my opinion, I'm not saying this to bash anyone else, I'm just saying that for myself, I like some autonomy to who I am. And so, I don't necessarily like to be a part of an organization. I know that sounds like really like hipstery, but that's just me, But, yeah, but I do have several friends that have done Greek life and Greek life in, different capacities. I have friends that have done social Greek life, have friends that have done service Greek life, even have a few people that I know who have done like, religious Greek life. And so all of those things exist. I think it's interesting, just in general, like speaking to a larger level of what college campuses feel like now as it pertains to Greek life. I was in college from 2015 to 2019. That was not too long ago, but it was long. It was almost long enough ago. My freshman year will be 10 years. Oh my God. My freshman year of college. Oh my God. August of 2025 will be 10 years since I entered college. Oh my God, I am elderly. But saying that to say that it's not been too long since I've been out of school, but it's been long enough. And the overall scope of like what the average college kid is very different. In my current job, my actual, the Dolly Parton 9 to 5, I do work on a college campus, and college kids are very different from how I was and how my friends were in college. I do maintain that, the different archetypes of students always exist. You'll always be able to find like the super Greek life girl. You'll be able to point out the athletes. You'll be able to find like the alt kind of kids. You'll be able to find the specific types of students or like the broader types of students. But overall, what students are wanting from their college campuses is very different than what I perceived people wanted when I was in school. And I don't think Greek life is really a part of that anymore. I definitely don't think Greek life is dying out. But this could also just be where I went to school and the university that I work at are so different in, student types that go there, probably the medium income of like the families of the students that go there. I would think the overall aspirations of what students want to do are different. And that all has to do with geographically where the schools are. But I just feel like overall, it's not really like Greek life is not, I won't say that it doesn't play a huge part in a lot of people's socialization to social settings in school and, social drinking and things like that. But from my frame of reference, how I'm viewing it, and I'm saying this from the bench, obviously, because again, I'm not involved in Greek life. I was not, and I continue to not be. It just doesn't seem like something that people are looking forward to. And so I would be curious to see if this decision creates a domino effect, I'd actually be curious to know if the University of Virginia, if the Kappa Sigma ban is still going, how Maryland is going to handle this ongoing investigation. Something I find interesting about the Maryland one is that not only did they have to cease all the activity, but in the letter that went out to Interfraternity Council, it states that current members cannot interact with new members or prospective members. And, the whole point of Greek life ideally is to help bridge these bonds between, these seniors that have been rushing for X amount of years and these new people that are coming in. And so to put down that wall and basically say, yeah, y'all can't even talk anymore, I think is very interesting. And, it kind of deconstructs socially what what Greek life is all about. So it's all very interesting. It's something I'm definitely going to keep my eyes on, just because I do think the idea of Greek life is so interesting to me as someone who has had several friends in Greek life and went to Greek life functions and things like that. But also understanding the kind of I don't want to offend any of my Greek life friends here, but understanding that kind of culty and kind of exclusive and exclusionary nature of Greek life. I'd be interested to see how this all plays out. Not only just for UMD, but just, for universities in general. So yeah, interesting things. Look at me doing some topical things. We're going to take a quick break, and you guys, I actually have a little bit of an ad to read for you. It's not like a paid sponsorship, but now when I actually say we have a quick break, I actually have something that fill in that quick break silence. So we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back. Hi, podcast besties. Listen, I know you're loving the vibes here on the Realer Than Real podcast with your host and your literal best friend, Shamira. But if you know me, you know the party does not stop here. Follow the podcast on Instagram and TikTok, where you can get behind the scenes sneak peeks of episodes, join the conversations in real time, and stay updated on all things Realer Than Real. Whether it's memes, pop culture headlines, or exclusive content, you can find me on TikTok at The Realer Than Real Pod or Instagram at The Realer Than Real Podcast. I can't wait to see you there. Bye! You guys, I hope you liked my ad. I worked really hard on it, so I hope you all liked it. And I hope you all, as a marketing professional, let me give you some marketing lingo. Me giving you my socials, those are action items, babe. So go ahead and do the action that follows someone giving you their socials. Thanks. But we're back, and you know what the second segment means. It's time for our drinks of the week. I do, unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, I don't know, it depends how you look at it. I do only have one drink with me. And that, of course, is the Big Pink. A little ASMR so you can hear the ice inside. I feel like it's mainly water that you heard because the ice is mostly melted, and whatever is not melted has kind of formed into this giant ball of ice. You guys, I don't know what's been going on, but I've just been feeling so, I don't know if just the water is hitting recently or if I'm just actually low-key dehydrated, but I don't know. I just have not wanted to drink. I just have not wanted to drink anything else besides this ice cold water. If you know where that reference is from, I love you. So I don't have another drink with me today, but I do have a little sweet treat. So I have a little candy jar on my coffee table, which is so funny because I don't have people over nearly enough to constitute having a candy jar. So it mainly just becomes a little sweet treat jar for myself, which I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But recently, a candy that I've been super into have been high chews. If you want a candy that is going to make your mouth water, babe, you want a high chew. It might have been the best thing to eat because I don't know how people feel about talking and eating. Do y'all want mouth sounds ASMR? Let's give it a try. That felt awkward for me, and I don't know how it felt for you. High chews are so good. They're just these super sweet taffy candies. They're an elevated Laffy Taffy, honestly. I mean, they're so good. They literally, they are so juicy. High chews, babe. You crack the, chewy taffy code to candy. Like, hat shoes are so good. But yeah, I just had such a sweet tooth lately. And the other day I was walking home from work and I was like, I'm going to go to this little convenience store near me. And I went and they had like 3 different bags of like varying flavors of high chews. And I picked all of them up. I've just been on such like a sweet treat like kick lately. I bought like a pack of Airheads the other day, finished those off real quick. It was only like 5 in the pack, so don't judge me. But I don't know what's going on. I've just been having such a craving for sweet treats. But anyway, that was the drink of the week. Please, 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 I ask this of y'all every week. Please let me know what y'all are sipping on when you're listening to me because I am nosy. I want to know. So yeah, please let me know. You can comment on YouTube if you are watching this with the help of the lovely visual aids. Or, again, you can, follow suit with those action items and go ahead and let me know on social media what you have been sipping on while you're listening to the podcast. So, you guys, in honor of Women's History Month, I'm going to talk about an article that talks about misogyny. But that was kind of funny. I think that was a funny joke. I'm losing it because it is low-key kind of late on a work night, but it's fine because I like hanging out with you guys. Okay, so my friend Emma, shout out to my friend Emma, she sent me this article from Elle magazine talking about how the title is How She's Not a Girl's Girl Became the Worst Insult. And it's the reason this immediately piqued my interest. I was looking at some of the caption and it talked about some ways to analyze this statement, but it particularly interested me because if you remember 6 episodes ago, my first podcast episode, or would that be 7 episodes ago? It doesn't matter. My first podcast episode, I talked about the Ariana Grande, Ariana. Ever since one of her fans clocked me for saying her name wrong, I literally second guess how I say it every time. Ever since the Ariana Grande scandal, where she was allegedly sleeping with her co-star Ethan Slater at the time that he was married, and his wife allegedly called Ariana Grande not a girl's girl. This idea has interested me since. And so, from the title, I was thinking that this article would be like something that I would agree with, or something that like would confirm how I was feeling about the term not being a girl's girl. I'm going to read to y'all some pull quotes, but I want to just read the opener. So it starts with, she's a slut, a homewrecker. She's basic. She's a guy's girl. Damaged goods. Oh, she's asking for it just like that. She's crazy, a lonely spinster, a drama queen, an angry black woman, a nasty woman, a stupid bitch. The list of casual everyday insults hurled at and between women and girls is vast. It's almost impossible to calculate exactly how much of our cultural vernacular has been poisoned with misogyny and misogynoir. But within the last year or so, an entirely new insult began to take shape amongst girls going viral on the internet. It manifested everywhere from public opinion deeming certain women homewreckers without insight into the inner workings of the relationship to even be cross-referenced in the Tate McRae song, We're Not Alike. The insult, she's not a girl's girl. So immediately I was like, oh wait, this is going to challenge how I think about this word. And I think that that's good. I've said this before already, but obviously this is a solo woman podcast. This is a bit of a one woman show. And so I definitely don't want to get into the headspace of becoming just an echo chamber for myself. I think about people like Emma Chamberlain, who she used to be the super relatable content creator, and she kind of blew up, and she was still maintaining some relatability. But then with her podcast, she started saying these super like out of touch things, and she had no one there to check her because she was doing it by herself. And people started like not vibing with her because she was just saying these stupid things out into the void and then just confirming the things that she said. So, in honor of not wanting to be like that, I was like, oh, okay, this article is going to challenge how I feel. I'm going to try and go into it with some, what's the word? I don't want to come in so defensive about this article. So I was reading through it on the train ride home. And I mean, it's a really long article. I'm obviously not going to read the whole thing here on air, but I will link it in the YouTube description box of this video if you would like to listen to it or if you would like to read it yourself. I think you could also probably Google it too. If you just look up Elle magazine, not a girl's girl, I'm sure it would pop up. But let's look at the first pull quote from this. The insult distinguishes said girl as anti-girl while also veiling itself as an all-encompassing term that embraces girl power and sisterhood as a whole. So, actually, no, let's read like all of them. What if saying she's not a girl's girl is just repackaging an internalized misogyny at its worst and haphazard hashtag female solidarity at its best? The article goes on to say, a girl's girl is a girl who prioritizes her female friendships, or she's more girl-oriented. It's a priority rather than a guy's girl or a pick-me girl, who is a girl who is not like other girls, says Kate Phelps, a sociology professor at the University of Wisconsin-Madison, and author of the forthcoming book researching digital girlhood. The problematic pick-me girl trope, aka the cool girl monologue from Gone Girl, is a label that reeks of internalized misogyny. The insult, she's not a girl's girl, is its latest reiteration of slut shaming, Dr. Phelps tells Elle.com. I don't disagree. And it's interesting because I don't disagree with this take. But I don't know, dude. Like, I don't know. It's so nuanced to have this conversation, right? I feel like I'm yelling, but it's so nuanced to have this conversation because obviously it kind of feels like this might be a super like not niche reference, but there's like a scene in American Dad where Stan like has this robot that's supposed to be like this kiss ass, like this yes man to him, and he basically like makes him like contradict himself by like Stan says something like, I hate when the clouds are blue, and or something like that, and the robot's like, oh, I hate them too, and Stan's like, oh, wait, I think I love them. And then, I don't know, the robot, like, keeps switching back and forth until he, like, explodes because he has all these contradicting, like, feelings about what Stan just said. And that's how I feel about this article because, obviously, as a girl's girl, I don't want to make someone, like, I would never slut shame anyone, right? But then, when I look at situations like the alleged Ariana Grande scandal, and you hear how one person is hurt by the other person's actions, and it's like, why would you intentionally hurt someone like that? Why would you intentionally hurt another woman like that who has never done anything wrong to you or anything wrong to anyone allegedly? It's like, how could you be a girl's girl? But it's a circular argument of like, well, we're attacking her instead of attacking this man, which I personally think we can do both at once, but that's not the point. It's this ongoing conversation of like, when does it end? And when is calling someone not a girl's girl a conversation that does not also have these tones of like internalized misogyny, which I think maybe to an extent, I mean, that's the thing about people is that we all have our own biases and our own kind of like it's and isms within us that you have to do the work to undo within yourself. Yeah, so there's not a perfect feminist, there's not a perfect person that fights against racial issues, but I think if you're doing the work, you are a step closer to it. Let's see what else this article says. There's nothing wrong with supporting girls. There's nothing wrong with girls supporting girls, but there's a component to this particular insult that feels eerily exclusionary by deeming which kind of girl is allowed access to the sisterhood depending on what kind of girl she happens to be. The girl's girl and guy's girl cultural phenomenon is not new. And if we take a walk down memory lane to grade school, these were often identified signifiers These were often identity signifiers used to describe whether a girl was a girly girl or a tomboy. But it's problematic when stereotypical gender expressions become a rigid social binary that defines an individual's ethical character and personality because it discounts the nuanced complexities that are innate to girlhood altogether. Girls are quite dangerous, and if they weren't, we wouldn't attempt to control them as much as we do through all these different mechanisms. We wouldn't try to control their bodies, their behaviors, this idea that their reputation is at stake, or worth that is attached to your body and what you look like. Girls are constantly navigating and sifting through these competing demands and trying to figure out who they are, says Dr. Phelps. I don't disagree with this take. Like, it definitely helped me kind of analyze what this terminology is, how this terminology is being used. I don't, how do I put this? The way I'm using it, the way I see it, I would never tie it to being like this. Like, okay, so the sentence, it says, it's problematic when stereotypical gender expressions become a rigid social binary that defines an individual's ethical character and personality. But it's not that, though. It's not that. I feel like it's not as deep as that, but it goes deeper than that. It's not just, are you a girly girl who's like with the girls, or are you a tomboy because you can be a tomboy who's a girl's girl. You can be a girly girl that is a pick-me and a guy's girl. I don't know. I'm not like trying to discredit. I'm definitely not trying to be dense about like what Dr. Phelps in the article is saying, but it's just like, I understand what's being said, but that's the thing about these conversations. There is nuance in conversation to any type of like social phenomenon that we are currently living through, but even to ones that have already existed, there is a type of nuance and context that has to go into it, because I don't think it's as simple as we're breaking it up and, you know, the former girl's girl is now, or the former girly girl is now a girl's girl, and the former tomboy is a pick-me / a guy's girl. It's not. I feel like that in and of itself is kind of doing that binary thing that they are warning against. But it's not just that, because you can have crossover. You know what I'm saying? I have always regarded, for as long as I've known the concept of being a girl's girl, I have regarded it always as just someone who wants better for their fellow female. And obviously there's context and nuance to that. Speaking from a Black woman's perspective, you know that you cannot trust every other woman to be in your best interest. And I'm not even talking about other Black women, but I'm talking about, like, you know, when we just talked about this the other day, like when we read, when I talked to y'all about that book, Acts of Service, and we talked about white feminism, and then a few episodes back when I talked about that Amazon Prime series, I watched them, where I talked about how it did a good job of demonizing the white woman. Like, being a Black woman, but being a woman in general, but specifically being a Black woman, is knowing which women you can and cannot trust. And that goes way deeper than not being a girl's girl, or you know, being a guy's girl, or a pick-me and things like that. But this article isn't touching on race, which I feel like is also very relevant to this, but this is kind of talking about it overall. But when you talk about women of color, and specifically Black women experiences with the phrase of not being a girl's girl, especially when you get to different races interacting with each other, it is so many other things of not being a girl's girl, but it becomes bigger than not being a girl's girl. And it's like, oh, you're not an ally to the Black experience, point blank, period. But that's a whole other thing. So the article keeps going on to say, when, quote unquote, she's not a girl's girl is thrown around, it's used to reference a woman or girl who seems to prioritize male validation at the expense of other women and girls. Frequently, the insult further perpetuates the idea that said girl is anti-girl because she will steal your boyfriend, she doesn't respect boundaries, and she's looking to compete with you. And in some cases, there really are girls who put down other girls for male attention. I myself am guilty of participating and hope there's repentance for my much younger self who didn't know better. But would we ever collectively attribute the same social tag onto young men and boys and determine he's not a boy's boy, a judge of individual virtue and a measure of gendered loyalty? This is one of the things that irritates me about these conversations when we like compare phenomenons that go on within like being a girl's girl versus like when we compare it to a guy. I'm not trying to get frustrated, but it's like, I cannot care about what a guy is going to use for their metric of valuing individual virtue, morality, and things of that nature. That doesn't like concern me. I don't care about it. I can only judge it based on my lexicon and my knowledge of what morality is, because guys in themselves, and I can't wait to say this because my favorite thing to talk about. Oh God, I almost kicked over my damn coffee table. As a communications major, one of my favorite things I learned about is the difference in communication between men and women. Deborah Tannen, Gender-Lex Theory, talks about the different ways that men and women communicate. Men will often communicate through physical activity. That is kind of like their love language, I guess, right? Call it their love language. That's how they communicate. So they're looking for connection in that aspect. Women look for connection through storytelling, having conversation, things like that. So we can't compare the way that we're measuring our loyalty and our virtue and how we connect with people, how we end up trusting people, to the same thing that guys do. It doesn't make sense. And I hate that type of argument because it's never going to be the same. Men and women are equal in a lot of places, but the way that we interact and the way that we value friendships is not going to be the same. So to throw that in there, I don't think it discredits the argument, but it is just kind of like, what does that have to do with the price of tea in China? It does not, it doesn't belong here. That's not what we're talking about. Let's see. Most recently in the viral rap feud between Nicki Minaj and Megan Thee Stallion, Minaj has been labeled as not a girl's girl and a mean girl as she advocates and defends her brother, who is convicted of predatory sexual assault and has been a registered sex offender, while simultaneously poking fun at Megan for being a victim of domestic abuse. There's a distinctive difference between when a phrase labels someone who condones and encourages bad behavior that puts women and girls at risk within their patriarchy versus labeling someone who simply might not express their girlhood in the stereotypical feminine sense. Sarah Youngblood Gregory wrote for Jezebel about the unsettling rise of the anti-pick-me girl, writing about the sweeping online critique of the pick-me girl. The critique has morphed so much that it has led to the strange meta rise of the anti-pick-me, a girl who insists she is definitely not like other pick-me's, but still revels in the same put-downs against other women, except this time it's in the name of feminist empowerment rather than the male attention. It seems like the pick-me and anti-pick-me pipeline, or no, I read that wrong. It seems the pick-me to anti-pick-me pipeline is a familiar parallel to the anti-girl critique in the girls' girl stratosphere. It's just modified and restyled in how we further brand girlhood to each other with hashtag empowerment while simultaneously punching down. And I mean, therein lies the rub, is that so many times with this kind of talk about this social phenomenon, it's always going to create this divine. There is this kind of innate thing in all of us to, and again, I can only speak to women, I can only speak to girls, this innate thing to separate us from the girls that we deem as not good. And whether those actions of deeming, I don't know if I phrased that right, but whether those come from a place of internalized misogyny that we might not be able to acknowledge, or whether we think it comes from a place of genuinely like, this girl is not a good person. But this is my thing, is that, you know, so this, and I'm not trying to be dense, but I am trying to like understand what this article is saying. Do y'all think that this article is saying we shouldn't, like, you know, let's say, for example, Sally and Mandy are best friends, but you know, and Sally goes to Mandy and she's like, I really love Jacob, but, you know, he's been treating me so bad. I want to make things work, but I just don't trust him. And Mandy in her head is like, oh, well, I've always thought Jacob was good looking. And if maybe they're having a weak spot, I can slide in. And then Mandy goes and sleeps with Sally's boyfriend and they start having an affair behind Sally's back. And then eventually it comes to light and Sally's like, oh my God, I thought you were my friend. What the hell? Are we not then allowed to say that Mandy is not a girl's girl? Like, yeah, we can also say fuck Jacob, but like, it's always been fuck Jacob. This is the thing that I'm saying, is that people say, like, this article talks about how, at least how it's reading to me is like, especially in the opening sentence or somewhere in the beginning, it says that like, yeah, in the second paragraph, it says it's manifested everywhere from public opinion deeming certain women homewreckers without insight into the inner workings of their relationship. So in this like, what is where are the inner workings? What do the inner workings really give? Because if Sally and Mandy are best friends, then Mandy, what are these inner workings you're talking about? Yeah, Jacob probably put the moves on her. Yeah, but when I trust and I believe what I'm telling you, at least from here, it's always been fuck Jacob. Jacob has always been the problem, but that's not the point. Especially with these situations, it comes from a place of like, people are always saying homewreckers don't exist, you know, oh, your man left the door open. And yes, the man did leave the door open and it's fuck him, obviously. But bitch, why the fuck would you walk in that door? Now let's clock that. Like, I just feel like this conversation, this article, while it does make some very valid points, it does. Like literally it has a doctor from, Madison, Wisconsin. Like I'm not discrediting anything that was said here. I'm gonna say something controversial but brave. I do feel like there is a brand of feminism that, and I guess, we can call it like a meta subculture of not being a girl's girl. I think it's very dangerous to not ever critique your fellow girl for doing certain things. Like in the name of, oh, we should stick together because we're always being pitted against each other. Yeah, that's true, but that doesn't leave an excuse for some of the crazy behaviors that women do to each other. Some women are purely out here for the male gaze, and some women will put you down in front of guys for the male gaze. And if I react to it, or if I go to my other friends and I say this girl's not a girl's girl, does that make me a bad person? Or does it make her a bad person? Because when we were hanging out with a bunch of guys, she starts talking about like how I used to stink in the 5th grade, and I don't know, how I used to always have like period stains on my pants. Like my throat's getting dry. I just think this conversation has such, and I get tired of saying these words sometimes, but it has such nuance and context to it that you'll never get to a point where it's like, this is what we should absolutely do and this is what we should absolutely stop doing. Because I'm sorry, to me, a girl's girl, I'm not going to say it doesn't have anything to do with internalized misogyny, because it very well could be. But for me personally, it's never been about that. But you just know when you don't have a girl ally on your side. If I tell you I like a guy and you also like that guy, and you tell other people that you're going to pursue this person in spite of me, even though you know that I really like him and you only casually like him, does that not make this person not a girl's girl? I don't know, you guys. I don't know. Why do I feel like my second segment was low-key shorter than my first? No, yeah, it's about the same. We're going to take another quick little break. You're going to hear another quick little ad. It's almost like giving Spotify ad, but it's a Shamify. Nope, that was stupid. Anyway, we're going to take a break. We'll be right back. Hey, besties. Are you ever curious about the woman behind the podcast mic? Probably not, because I'm an oversharer and you probably know most things about me. But if you want to get to know the real tea on all things Shamira, you should follow me on my personal social media. From day in the life vlogs to cooking videos to music reactions, babe, I do it all. My personal socials are where I take time to romanticize my everyday, ordinary girl life. So if you're into good vibes, laughs, and a touch of authenticity, come join the party. You can find me on TikTok at Shookmira, Twitter at Shamira James, that's 2 S's on the end, and Instagram at Shamira.Poppy, that's Pappii. I'll see you there, babes. Bye! Okay, you guys, and we're back. So I think, hold on. Okay. No, shut up. My light died. Ah, no, hold on. That was so embarrassing. I cannot believe my light actually died on me, but it is kind of my fault because I did have it on the highest brightness. And I didn't think that would affect the entire battery source, but alas and alack, here we are. But you know what? It's fine that happened because our last segment is going to be a very quick one. Since it is beginning of the month, I do want to go through everyone's horoscope. I'm so sorry if you're not a horoscope girly, but guess what? If you're going to listen to the Realer Than Real podcast, you're going to become one. I'm going to go through and I'm going to try and simplify what they all mean because I know that sometimes they can be a little overwhelming. So we're going to go through and I'm going to tell you my interpretation of each one. So for Aries/Aries rising, it says March is your chance for a rest and reprieve. Reprieve? It's reprieve. I can't read. Before the dawn of the new astrological year, you are kissing the void, reacquainting with the abyss, privy to the psychic nudges that answer cosmic questions, reacquaint with your inner world and tend to your emotional landscape. You may be mourning outdated outlooks or dynamics, grieving relationships that didn't quite pan out. Eclipse season is around the corner. Falling into your arena of relationships, inciting permanent and drastic change, you are clearing the way for lasting lovers and karmic connections that stand the test of time. By the time your birthday season kicks off on the 19th, you emerge out of your shining chrysalis of greater self-knowledge, restored vitality, purpose, and drive. You end March on the fast track towards true love. Basically, I feel like this means that the Aries is kind of like addicted to the unknown. And by time Aries season comes around, you are going to get out of that, oh, everything is such a mystery phase, and you're going to be, the things are going to start to make sense. So that's what it's given for y'all. Taurus and Taurus rising. That's me. I'm a Taurus rising. Pisces season supports you to surrender connections that are out of alignment. The sun shines in the sector of friendships. Social engagements and group projects take precedence, and you are encouraged to collaborate in shared mission. You are subject to psychic insights about who to keep in your close corner, privy to uncomfortable aha moments about their true intentions. That makes me nervous, y'all. I don't like finding out about fake people around me, but, sometimes relationships just run their course, and that's fine. A new astrological year is on the horizon, and you may prefer to opt for solitude than drain yourself by entertaining others. The tortured artists and evangelical escapists have to go, and you no longer want to assist anyone in glamorizing their pain. Oh, period. I don't like being around a negative Nancy all the time. As someone who likes to complain a lot, but you can't complain all the time. Gemini and Gemini rising. Pisces season has you detecting dreams from delusion as the planet illuminates your sector of ambition. You are learning how to pair your gifts of imagination with time management and structure. If you want to become a VIP, you must first feel like one. Try to simulate the feelings of approval and recognition within yourself before reaching externally for affirmation. Okay, Gemini and Gemini rising. It's saying the RuPaul message. If you can't love yourself, how the hell are you going to love somebody else? Or what Beyonce also says in My House. It's all about that internal before that external, babe. Prioritize it right. Cancer and Cancer rising. March beckons you to move beyond your regularly scheduled programming and take more risks. As the sun radiates through mystical Pisces, you are encouraged to challenge any narratives that keep you in your victimhood. Drop any outdated stories about failure and restore your sense of faith. The universe isn't punitive or cruel. It ebbs and flows in the direction of your intention. Turn the focus on the bigger picture. Well, come on, Miss Cancer, Miss Negative Nancy. It's time to turn that frown upside down. Let's look for the positives, because if you keep acknowledging the negatives in your life, babe, that's all you're ever going to see. And we can do better than that. Leo and Leo rising. You are the martyr when it comes to love, privy to bouts of delusion and fantasy. Romantic by nature, you have had your fair share of lessons when it comes to idealizing partners and friends. Pisces season shines a light on your 8th house of sex, death, and rebirth, helping you explore your approach to intimacy. This is your time to transform and transmute, to unearth forgotten heartache and become your own lover. Keep doors to the past closed and set intentions for lasting love. No more spinning the block, bitch. Look forward. Set your sights forward. You're about to unlock some things that you didn't think you knew about yourself. Look forward. Heavy on the look forward. Virgo and Virgo rising. With the sun radiating your opposite sign, Pisces, you're trading your work gear for Delulu lemons. I'm crying. That's so funny. Encouraged to approach life from the fantastical vantage point rather than analyzing every day. Let yourself dream, ponder, dilly-dally, and fall into fantasy. Your sector of significant others is highlighted, determining the relationships that need to be phased out or even taken to another level. March is about letting go of the tight reins on your life and becoming a passenger. Surrender control and let someone else take the lead. Yeah, Ms. Bossy Pants, sit the fuck back. I feel like I'm cursing so much, you guys. I'm so sorry. I'm trying to wrap this up fast though, but as an earth sign, from one earth sign to another earth sign, Virgo, just unclench your jaw, relax your shoulders, and let someone else take the lead. Thanks. Libra and Libra rising. Pisces season illuminates your sector of health, wellness, and daily routine, assisting you in incorporating intuitive practices that uplift your lifestyle. Whether you are smudging, sweating, or sneaking crystals under your pillow, March wants you to get regimented about self-care. Relationships may unsteady, particularly as the eclipse season approaches and the planets move into Aries. Remember to curtail your people-pleasing and practice integrity, becoming radically honest and learn how to conserve your time. You are innately a social creature with a need for variety and fun, but anything that costs you your peace is too expensive. Libra, babe, protect your peace at all costs. People are going to try and come for it, and you need to protect it. Scorpio and Scorpio rising, your co-ruler Pluto has been in Aquarius for a month, paving way for powerful interpersonal connections, encouraging you to explore new scenes and settings. You crave a sense of belonging, a stasis of safety you can unfurl in. Pisces illuminates your fifth sector of play and creativity this month, so try and find cunning, inventive ways to experience bliss. Let your hair down and look for beauty in unexpected environments. Piscean energy is all about fantasy and reacquainting with unseen realms. Diversify your palette and stay away from numbance. I've never heard of that word before. Try and find forbidden pleasure that gets you closer to yourself. To me, it's giving, explore the new. Go see what's out. Go see what's new out there. Break the routines. Release your inhibitions. Feel the rain on your skin. Sagittarius and Sagittarius rising. Pisces season lulls you in a psychic haze and you require room to retreat into your feelings and fantasy. Usually homebodied this March, you are examining foundations, discerning what needs to be eliminated in your immediate environment. Use your imagination as a vehicle into the past, paving way for your childhood catharsis. After a grand adventure, you need a castle to call home. How can you infuse your domain with more magic? What familiar patterns need negating? As you inspect your origin, you unearth more important information about who you are becoming as an adult and how far you have come. So Sagittarius, it's all about looking in the past to help you understand your future. You can never forget your past. You can never forget what you grew up on. That is important stuff. I'm going to do mine last. So we're going to go Pisces rising. Happy birthday season, Pisces. With Saturn and Mars, Neptune, and the Sun all stationed in your sign this month, it promises to be a busy season. Social endeavors aside, you are restored a sense of purpose, magnetically drawing you to the right opportunities. You are reminded that your innate talent for imagining and introspection can be used to sway probabilities in your favor. If there's something you desire, you must emulate the feeling of having it before it shows up to you in physicality. Pisces, babe, the stars are saying it's all in your hands. You just got to make it happen because you are what? That girl. Aquarius and Aquarius rising. When Pluto is placed in your sign, the only constant is change. In this transient state, you are called to rely on something bigger than you, to fine-tune your spiritual senses and connect to the divine. Pisces season offers you a chance to surrender anything too heavy over the care of higher power. Build spiritual self-worth and embrace your blind faith. Now, if you don't believe in something bigger than yourself, Aquarius, I think it's just really about getting out of your own way and letting... if it's not letting the universe or whatever religion you believe in take course for you, it is about not getting in your own way. And last but certainly not least, Capricorn and Capricorn rising. Your dreams are begging for execution, and with the detours and delays of the last year behind you, I feel so seen. You are prepared to take strides toward success. March illuminates your headspace as the Piscean placement enhances your conscious thinking. Opening my third eye, you possess the gift of a pragmatic and focused mind, but March is your call to fantasize. You are floating through the alternative vantage points, playing with your perception of the world around you. Ditch the cynicism, okay, mind your business, and pretend reality is conspiring to shower you in blessings. Imagine, visualize, and invite inspiration to strike in silent moments. Ask unanswerable questions and divulge your discoveries to anyone who will listen. That means I'm just about to talk my shit all month. And with that, thank you guys so much for listening. It was such a lovely time I've had here with you all, and I can't wait to see you next week, babe. Bye.
Realer than real. Realer than